makes you reevaluate a lot of things.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You learn a lot about yourself, and then you start realizing, my life, is this really working?
Right. Is this plan that I've had mapped out from A to Z? Like the kids, yeah, you jump from F to P to like you're all over in the alphabet. It's not linear at all. And definitely not something that I expected. I did not expect because I had parents that worked. So it was like, that was it. You're going to have kids and you're going to keep working. I did not expect to feel the amount of guilt that I had.
The mom guilt, kind of. And
Yeah, taking the kids to daycare and dropping them off and having somebody else see them more hours a day than me, more days a week than me.
Yeah. Yep. It's
That
crazy.
was,
I mean, especially that first time dropping off the first one, I was like, wow, this is torture. Like, it was not fun.
no, it wasn't. And that was a big thing for me because I did it with my first, then I had my second, and that's when I started seeing my mentor's stuff on Facebook and was like, there's no way. But I was so probably in denial. I was like, I can do this. Like trying to hype myself up. It'll be easier the second time, right? Because I've done it before. It was not.
No.
It was
Yeah.
not. And that was another guilt moment for me. Not feeling like I was fully present in my maternity leave that was already too short. I was like, I'm not going to do this with another one.
Yeah.
I'm not going to.
I'm excited about this discussion. And I think for those of you listening, this is going to be really helpful to kind of encourage you if you're in that space or you've been wondering if there's another way. You've been wondering if it's possible, if you can take that step into entrepreneurship, whatever that looks like for you. We want to encourage you in that process, that journey. And that is a journey. And it's not just like a magic one that, it does take some effort and some work, but you absolutely can. It is possible. And you don't have to continue to have all of that mom guilt and that kind of shame, around like leaving your kids and all of the things. There absolutely is a way to create a life that you feel fulfilled and joyful and not have those same issues. So, Brooke, would you share with us kind of what that journey has looked like for you? Because I'm sure it wasn't instant, right? Tell us a little bit about what you've learned along your journey.
Yeah. So it was a little over 2 years ago. 2 years ago, well, we're probably at 2.5 now. 2 years in August 23 that I jumped into entrepreneurship. Like I said, I went to graduate school. Everything that everybody tells you, it's like you go to school, you get the degree. And I mean, if we go back to it, I was going to school, but I didn't ever see myself as a mental health therapist. But I feel like that might be a topic for another episode because that's in itself something that I wouldn't change, but definitely wasn't where I saw myself when I was like, yeah, I want to go to graduate school. But did I even really want to go to graduate school? Maybe not, but I was told that like that's what you do. You go to school, you get a degree, and the more school that you go to, the better paying job you have, the more security, like all of the things hinged on going to school. So I did it. and I was really good at it. Really good at school. I love learning. So that's another benefit in business as well. Like you get to learn, like continue growing that way. And I absolutely love that that's the same. That's, I feel like, made the transition a little bit easier because it's like you're still learning and growing. Like all of the skills that you learned through school, like plug in, do the work, that translates into business. And so like I said, I mentioned earlier, I had my first 3 months maternity leave. It wasn't enough. Like you said, the first drop off was absolutely miserable. I spent the whole day back at work crying. I was practically useless, so I probably just shouldn't have gone. But then I would have been useless any other first day. Same thing with my second. And what really kept me going was knowing that I had started something. I was building alongside, working full time, and I had an exit strategy. Like I had a light at the end of the tunnel. because I knew that there was no way that I was going to continue taking my kiddo to daycare. Any of my kids. Well, the two big kids still go because they like it now. Like, they had to go for so long, they like it. But it has been such a relief off of me being able to be more present through my third kiddo. She'll be, well, she's 7 months. She'll be 8 months this month. And she's been with me all day, every day, except for when she's sleeping, which has been another experience in itself, but definitely one that I'm happy I took that leap to do something different. Definitely uncomfortable, but to be able to be home with her, because taking another kiddo to get to daycare and knowing what that was going to be for me, my mental health, how it would impact my relationships with other people, like at work and in my family, friends, that was a lot scarier for me than getting out of my comfort zone and trying something new, that being moving into the online space and starting a business. Everybody's like, what are you doing? Like, you went to school for therapy? And I was like, yeah, I absolutely did. And that was a thought in my head initially too. Like, I don't know anything about online. I don't have any presence online. I just post about the births of my children, and now I'm going to start sharing all of this stuff. Like, but it was worth it, because that uncomfortability growing and doing those things was a lot less painful for me than thinking about being in the exact same spot, mental health continuing to decline for even another year.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
not.
I think so many people can relate to that. And in healthcare specifically too, and it's because I did my master's degree in occupational therapy. So very
Mm-hmm.
similar story there. And when I had my kids, I was like, okay, I've got to figure out a way where I can have much more time with them and a lot more flexibility, because there's days
Yeah.
where maybe they're under the weather, or somebody has a field trip, or something else going on. There's all kinds of family things, or even those that you might have an elderly loved one that you need to take care of, or, there's so many different nuances where you just need that time freedom for your family and for your own mental health, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so even, in healthcare, a lot of times you can even do like be a PRN, a healthcare worker, right? Or on call, or like as needed. And so I even did that for a while. And I tried so many different things, just like trial and error, trying to figure out. But
Yeah.
even that, you might get called to fill in for like a whole week for someone, and then you might not get any work for a whole month or two. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's feast or famine. That's not sustainable for anybody, really,
Yeah.
So then I try to, let's see, maybe home health. And then, you have a flexible schedule and stuff, but then you have
Mm-hmm.
4 hours of paperwork. Thank you to certain agencies that require a lot of insurance and whatever.
Yeah.
So, there's, many different things you can try, but I have not found anything that is like building a business online. It
Mm-hmm.
takes effort, like Brooke said. There's some learning. You have to be willing to learn and be coachable and adaptable, but you absolutely can. So would you share just like maybe one or two of the biggest challenges you faced as you made that transition, and what you learned through those, maybe?
Mm-hmm. Biggest challenges. The first thing that comes to mind, I mean, I already mentioned the guilt of, well, daycare guilt, but then also the guilt of like spending so much, investing so much in my education, to then be like, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna use this degree that I spent so much time, money, effort, energy like obtaining, and wondering what people were gonna think of me. Like, even my family, they've always been like, yeah, whatever, Brooke does whatever and makes it work. But it was still like, what are people gonna think? You post about the birth of your child, and now you're gonna be online all the time. You went to school to be a therapist. What are you doing now? And so just that, the fear of guilt, the fear of no, sorry, the fear of judgment and the fear of failure were two really big ones, that that kept me not stuck, but definitely things that I had to work through. And the biggest shift for me was like, if somebody isn't going, if they're not paying my bills, if I wouldn't switch places with them, if I wouldn't want their life, their bank account, their family, their situation, if I wouldn't want that and they're not contributing to my health, happiness, or finances, that really their opinion doesn't matter. And life is way, way, way too short to be stuck in something that doesn't truly light you up, set you on fire every single day, make you excited to like leap out of bed versus like dragging yourself like, oh my gosh, what is this day going to bring, and being miserable. It's their opinions don't matter. And
Yeah.
it was that was a big one. And then I think those two challenges, and really just acknowledging that growth is uncomfortable, getting out of my comfort zone. Like when I started my business, I there is zero part of me that would have done anything like be on a podcast. I turned tomato red at the thought of going live for a couple minutes. Like that was like bright red. I think the first live, if they were still on Facebook, you guys, you could go back and watch me go live, and the red just creep up my neck and consume my face, and I was like a tomato at the end of it.
I think that's pretty, and that's a really good point if you are starting, a business and online and everything. Everyone feels that way the first time, and probably the first like 15 times, honestly.
Right.
You have this, there's a level of it, it's like a stage fright of sorts, basically. It's very, very normal. Just so for those that, if you're just starting, that's normal.
Yeah, it is. It is 100% normal. And also, we have to note that like the only place that growth happens is outside of our comfort zone. It's going to be uncomfortable. Growth is uncomfortable. And but the only way that it happens is if we keep moving.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I love that you said that because I think a lot of people, our our brain, especially through all the different childhood experiences that many of us have and challenges and things that have happened, our brain is often wired for just like survival. And what that means is that we seek comfort a lot, which isn't always bad.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to pursuing your purpose, your calling, there is something to be said for you won't really reach your full potential if you don't allow yourself to be pushed outside of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
Make wise decisions. Obviously, we're not going to just jump off a cliff or something, but it is so, so important. And I like some of the things that you mentioned because I think so many people have a fear of being judged, um, are often wanting to stay in their comfort zone. And I
Mm-hmm.
want to encourage you that none of your business what anybody else thinks. Like Brooke said, if they're not paying your bills, if they don't have to carry the responsibilities you do for your family, for your life, then that does not matter. And one of the biggest things that I learned over the years in this journey is there will be people that don't accept what you do. That's just going to happen. But that's a good thing. It's not something to be afraid of because when those people leave or whatever you want to call it, that makes space for the people who are ready for what you have to offer, who are excited about it, who are the right people that are going to cheer you on or support you or be a part of what you're doing, whatever that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those are really huge things to really highlight because it's very, very common that those things hold people back. And a lot of people, the fear of judgment will also keep them from doing things because they want it to be like absolutely perfect when they do, whatever it is that they're doing with their business or their entrepreneurship. And I want
Mm-hmm.
to encourage you, like, no one is perfect. I have a mentor who's an incredible CEO who's made millions and millions of dollars. And she said, listen, you make the most out of the mess, because the fact is life is messy. Like no matter which way you slice it, whether you have kids or not, no matter what field you work in, life is messy. Things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, listen, I was driving here to there and I had an important CEO call I needed to do. So I stopped at a hotel. They had no rooms. There's nothing. She said, okay, do you have a meeting room? Nothing. So she's like, the lady said I could use her office. So I'm sitting in this back office with linens hanging everywhere and mattresses and all kinds of disaster. And I did my meeting. But it doesn't matter. It does because it doesn't have to be perfect. Show up and make the most of what you can. Take what you have, make the most of it, and do the best you can.
Mm-hmm.
But your passion, your excitement is what is going to drive the train, is what is going to bring the people towards you, not being perfect. Like
Mm-hmm.
99% of the time, it is not. In fact, I would say the people that look too perfect, sometimes the audience or whoever is kind of like, that's weird. How is that so perfect? Like almost
Question it a little bit.
yeah. So wanted to share that. Okay, so share with us, what do you think are a couple of like the biggest things that you have learned along your journey, or some kind of gold nuggets that the audience could implement, whether it's mindset or whatever that you've kind of shifted or learned, that would be helpful.
Mm-hmm. Mindset is massive. I did not have any idea how, like, business is 90% mindset, 10% tactical. If you do not work on yourself, you are going to struggle significantly. So, mindset, absolutely. But I think a big thing is like a lot of people wait until they feel ready. And you already alluded to this, that it's not like rarely, if ever, does anybody feel ready to get outside of their comfort zone and make a massive change. And we already talked about the only place that you're going to grow is outside of that comfort zone. It's going to be uncomfortable. But once you move through that, literally everything that you want, that you desire, whether what you're being called to, pulled in the direction of, if you're hearing that little voice, like waking up, dreading the day, if you find yourself miserable at all, you need to listen to those feelings. Pay attention to that, what your body's telling you, your mind, your heart, what God is calling you to. Like, life is way too short to be miserable. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. And what you push through, that that is what's holding you back from getting what you want. Everything that you want is on the other side of the thing that you're avoiding, the discomfort that you're putting off.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
it's so backwards to think about, but if it's uncomfortable and it scares you, that's a sign that you need to move towards it. And
Yeah,
and that's where the
especially when it
magic
comes to
happens.
entrepreneurship and business. I think that is so, so true. I have a colleague of mine that she says, when you get up in the morning, that thing that you're least wanting to do, that thing that you're regretting the most, do it first. Eat the frog first, she says. Eat the frog first. So, and that is true in so many things. And you know what I was just talking to some of my clients about the other day in one of my groups? When you are struggling with motivation, focus, and you are kind of fight or flight might be going on, there's stress, something, right? The part of your brain that needs to be active for motivation is the prefrontal cortex.
Mm-hmm.
And what you can do, what activates prefrontal cortex? Doing something that is organizing, or something that you don't normally like, cleaning up, people say make your bed, right? Organize a closet, clean up the kitchen, like something that's not necessarily pleasant, but when you're done, it's satisfying. Guess what? We've got that dopamine reward. We've got that prefrontal cortex online now. We just activated that. You can also do things like crossword puzzles and other kind of things in that vein of problem solving, right? And that kind of thing. And that activates your frontal cortex, and then boom, your motivation is there. That's when then you eat the frog. And then you do the things that
Then
you might not love to do. Do the live video, whatever it is,
yeah.
for your business. Start writing if you want to write a book, fill in the blank. But
Mm-hmm.
that is huge. And I think a lot of people don't realize that, because they're just kind of surviving through the day, which we've been there. We're moms, we know how that can be.
Yeah.
But I want to encourage you that you can take steps to help yourself with that motivation. And then, of course, mentorship. You've mentioned that. I've mentioned, mentorship is huge.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really big, because, and that's part of the reason why with all of my programs and things that I do with my clients, half of the battle is having the right support along the journey.
Yeah.
And because we can read all the books and podcasts and go to seminars and Google this and chat GPT and that, right? You can have all kinds of tools and information and know how to do things.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have the right type of support along the journey, it's really easy. Again, our brain likes to seek comfort. It's really easy to be like, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll
Right.
do that next week. I'll do that next week. Oh, this happened, that happened, the flat tire, the kid is sick, the whatever, right? It's
Yeah.
so easy to not follow through
Mm-hmm.
because of life, right? Like I said, it's gonna be life is messy.
Yes.
So I think that's also something to remind yourself that, finding the right type of support, mentorship is a big one.
Absolutely. I would not be where I am today if I didn't have mentorship in my business. And I think a big thing is to invest in the mentorship, guys, because you're essentially like, yes, you invest monetarily, but you're also like, you're buying that person's mistakes and things that they've worked through to collapse the time frame to help you get to where you want to be faster. And that is why mentorship is so important to me. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I wouldn't have started if I didn't have a mentor that poured into me and moved me through what she walked through that was tough for her. I wouldn't have made it through on my own. But like another thing, we're not meant to do anything on our own. We're human. We're meant to be in communities. And so a lot of people think they need to have it all figured out or this plan, that like we're meant to lean on each other and ask each other questions. I know that asking for help can be really, really hard for people, and it still is for me sometimes. But truly being able to ask for help is such a massive strength, and shifting your focus to it being a strength versus a weakness is a game changer.
Yeah. I heard someone recently in a seminar say, I pay exponentially more for a mentor that's made a lot of mistakes because I know they've learned a lot of things through that. I
Mm-hmm.
thought that is huge.
Yes. Yeah. And you don't I mean, I didn't know that. I didn't understand that until I got into it. That was something that you invested in. You've heard of life coaching and all the things. So I guess for me, the coaching in my mind that I heard about, like being an athlete, was like coaching, like health, physical fitness, like a health coach.
Hmm.
But being in business, it's definitely opened up my eyes. So there's literally a coach for everything out there.
Hmm.
Anything that you're looking to, like somebody is
Yeah.
an expert in what you are wanting to do.
Yep.
And I mean, both of our professions, they're helping professions. I feel like we traded a lot doing it there, but like the passion for helping is still there outside of the 8 to 5,
Yeah.
and being able to do it in this setting on our terms, like versus being told when you can do X, Y, and Z, or how long you have to be where, and all of the things that you get told when you have a boss. Like being able to do that, continuing to help and serve people through mentorship in business is something that I didn't know that I would enjoy as much as I do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I like how you highlighted that because, like you said, even when you were doing, your 9 to 5 job or what have you, that the passion wasn't there. You weren't fully, feeling fulfilled. And while sometimes we like certain aspects of our, normal 9 to 5 job or whatever, I think it's okay if you feel like there's something off. And it's okay to question that. It's okay to start thinking about, okay, what is it that I really want to do? What is it that I really love doing? And if you're just in that beginning place, you can ask yourself, if you're trying to figure that out, What is something in this world that you see a lot that really drives you crazy and you want to make less of that problem for people, right? That's one thing that you can, kind of think about and evaluate if that's something that is your kind of calling, or what's something that there's not enough of that you want to help make more of.
Mhm.
And so, it's okay to shift and pivot in that we might not do what we thought we were going to do, but it is kind of funny that a lot of times, a lot of our same things that we love are still a part of something new in a different way. It looks a little bit different. And you
Mhm.
mentioned mindset. That is so huge. I think, like you said, 90%, 80, 90% of what you do as an entrepreneur is mindset and learning how to kind of work smarter, not harder. And what can we delegate, and do I really need to do all these tasks, or is there a way to create another opportunity, partnership, something so that this can be a team effort?
Mhm.
For example, sometimes some of the most difficult challenges I've had in business actually created some of the things that built huge momentum in my business. When I first started my in-person practice, I had a client who went and found other services that were kind of similar to me and was paying like 3 times the cost of what
Mhm.
I was offering her. And that made me completely reevaluate. Talk about mindset. I was like, okay, why is someone willing to pay more?
Mhm.
And so when it in that evaluation, out of that, and this is something huge, every mistake, if you will, or every problem
Yeah.
is a learning opportunity. Just like you said, where we pay a lot of money for mentors that have made a lot of mistakes because they've learned these kinds of things, right?
Mhm.
So every time there's a problem, evaluate, what can I learn from this to use to propel me forward in the mission and the vision that I want to accomplish. And out of that, I created a loyalty referral program for my business where it actually probably multiplied my business about 5 times. And then I didn't have to spend as much on marketing and other things that I was doing. And it saved me a lot of time and energy, and everybody wins. The
Yeah.
customer gets a loyalty discount. The referred person gets a loyalty discount. I can have the prices a little higher. Everyone wins, but it's fair for everyone. And
Mhm.
so
That's
those are the kinds of things that never would happen if I wouldn't have allowed the opportunity to learn from it.
Yeah, I think a big thing, like the shift of not looking at something like, why is this happening to me, but why this is happening for me. Not something happening to you, but it's happening for you. It's happening for a reason. Everything
Yeah,
that you go through in life, every challenge that you're walking through, learning through, is meant to you're supposed to be gathering those experiences to then help your business partners, help whoever you're meant to impact, whoever you're going to touch later in life. Like you need to be going through what you're going through now to be able to connect and make the impact that you want to have on other people down the line.
absolutely. Yep. I think those are some good gold nuggets. I love this discussion. Is there anything, final thoughts that you want to share as we wrap up?
I think my biggest thing is really the cliche saying of just do it. Nike's slogan. Just
Yeah,
do
it
it.
is. It is a good one. Definitely a good
If
one.
you're
Yeah.
feeling any sort of uncomfortability, if you're feeling
Hmm.
discomfort, we'll call it
Discomfort.
discomfort. That'd
Yeah.
be the easier to say word. If you're feeling any discomfort in your day to day, do something about it. Just do it. Do the thing that you've thought like, oh man, this would be cool. Do it. Do it.
Yep.
It doesn't have
One
to be, you're not
thing.
doing it all at once. Like take a step towards it.
Yeah, well, small steps, right?
Boom.
Better done than perfect. It's one of my favorite quotes. Just take a step. Just do one small thing. One of my rules that I've developed over the years is if I thought about it more than 3 times, it's probably
Ooh.
something I'm supposed to do.
Ooh, I like that.
So something to think about, but everyone has their own things. But yes, so good discussion. So glad to talk to you today. If you want to connect with Brooke, she's an incredible entrepreneur and has learned so much in business and in the online space. Absolutely amazing to follow and learn from her and connect with her. You can connect on Facebook, Brooke Sibery, right? And so it's pretty easy and simple.
Mm-hmm.
And I look forward to our next discussion. Maybe we'll do another one sometime.
Yeah.
And I'll put all the details in the comments and everything. I am so excited for this episode to come out, and we'll talk again soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Miriam.